Let me begin with you, Bayomi. This was supposed to be, or rather, this is what the party that Nigerians thought was going to be Nigeria's third force. The excitement with which Nigerians received this party prior to the 2023 general elections was massive. In fact, if you cast your mind back, you still feel, that excitement somewhat. But as it stands now, the party is in almost a total disarray. And nobody expected that there will be factions at all whatsoever. And, Julius Abure has been, removed as it stands. Yet he's still holding tight, sitting tight to power. What exactly is going on, and how do you intend to challenge the ruling party come 2023 general elections?
Thank you very much. I don't know the lawyer that told them. Am I audible?
Please go ahead. We can hear you loudly.
Yeah. I don't know the lawyer who told them that Abure had been removed and they are now in charge. What I have before me here is the notice of appeal filed by this group of people before the Supreme Court. I challenge any SPN to tell me that whatever you don't have here will be granted to you in the Supreme Court. I repeat, I challenge the lawyer to tell Nigerians that the relief they didn't sort here was granted to them in the Supreme Court. We are not babies that doesn't know what law is. Now, the court, they complained about 3 issues here. One was that a court overreached its decision.
Abayomi, can you still hear us, Abayomi? Your audio seems to have ceased. I would like you to...
Can you hear me, please?
Okay, you're back online. Please go ahead. Abayomi, we can...
You can hear me?
Yes,
fine.
We can hear you.
Now,
go ahead.
Now, the appeal consists of 3 grounds. And the 3 grounds are predicated on the judgment of November 13 and January 17. In all, they seek only 2 reliefs sought from the Supreme Court. 1, to allow this appeal. 2, to set aside the past judgment containing the perverse finding and determination by the court below, declaring and confirming Abure as the national chairman of the first respondent. This was the 2 reliefs they sought from the court. Supreme Court is not a Father Christmas that they will not go to the market and manufacture another order, affirming an illegal organization as the leadership of the party. Now, the other question remains this. If Supreme Court, in their ruling, in their wisdom, said court cannot assume jurisdiction over party leadership, is this that same court that has now affirmed the Nenadi Usman as caretaker? See, we are in Nigeria. We are not a bunch of idiots that people, we don't think we can be manipulated. Again, Section 223 of the Constitution is exactly clear. No political party shall be added by a caretaker. We have a judgment of the Court of Appeal in 2023 that is now statute bar. Nobody can appeal it. It was done by Barrister Monday Mawa over the caretaker of a political party. Number 3, Section 222 provided for any association who want to be registered as a political party. They will have a life of their own. Their constitution will be submitted to the INEC. The name of the national officer will be submitted to the INEC. They must obey their constitution. And the constitution of Labour Party, as we have it here, has room for extension of tenure. It was in this country that APC extended the tenure of their national executive. It was in this country that tenure of Dabagun was extended. So for anybody claiming to be Labour Party member, that they don't know that NEC has the power to extend tenure of the National Working Committee, then, it shows that those people, they don't know the Constitution.
Abayomi,
All
Now,
right, okay.
Abayomi,
Mr.
Abayomi,
Arabambi, Mr. Arabambi,
Ijoma, let me
sorry,
just ask
I
him
think,
this before he goes on.
okay.
You realize that Julius Abure has served 2 terms of 4 years each.
it's a
Your
lie. He has not.
Article 15 of your constitution did say that after 2 terms you cannot go forward serving the same position. So why is he holding tight to that position?
Thank you very much. Our national chairman, let me land now. See, this is my 17th year in Labour Party. Let me land. This is my 17th year in Labour Party. I know Labour Party from head to toe. Abure started as the acting national chairman in 2021. Dinyomaya was not our member then. I was on the verge of completing my 2nd term of 8 years as chairman of Ogun State then. That was when there was a vacancy, and our NEC is empowered to fill vacancy for NWC in between convention. That was when a motion was moved validly by my humble self, supported by the Sokoto State Chairman, where we elevated Abure from the National Secretary to National Chairman in that capacity. We now took our National Vice Chairman, Northwest, Alhaji Farouk Umar, as the National Secretary, and we reverted Maria back to the Deputy National Chairman. This was witnessed by INEC, and we have the certified true copy of the 2021 NEC meeting addressed by INEC. Now, that tenure started in March 2021. You cannot join the tenure of a National Secretary to that of National Chairman. He started that new tenure 2021, which will expire in 2024. But there were issues regarding the restraining order, and that was why Mr. Peter Obi, Governor Zeloti, all of them converged in Delta State, and they now extended that tenure by 1 year. That was why he did another convention to now start another new term. So as far as we are concerned, Abure has just ended 1 term as national chairman of the party. He has just begun another one. So anybody thinking the position of the vice president and the president are the same, they should go and look at the constitution very well so that they will be able to know the difference.
Mr. Arabambi, I need to ask you this question. It's quite interesting that at this point you are now using that same Labour Party constitution that you once said Abure should come out and tell people where he got the constitution that empowers him to be the national chairman of the Labour Party. It's also quite surprising that you also is saying that Abure has completed the term, because I remember there was a time you even had to go to court to say that Abure's tenure is illegal. And if what you are saying now, that Abure is just starting the 2nd term, and the Apex Court never, because if I recall what I also saw, the judgment that was reported, the Apex Court dismissed the appeal court judgment that brought Abure back as the national chairman of Labour. So if that is the case, where is Abure standing? What is giving him the power to do that? And if the court is saying that the party has the power, that it is the party that can decide whoever governs it, then who is Abure in that party?
Thank you very much. There was never a time I discussed with you that, Abure is holding legal tenure other than when we have a restraining order, which the court has set aside. We went to appeal court set it aside. You see, the difference between us and some of the people is that they don't normally want to obey court judgment. That is the problem. Once you have a matter before a court of competent jurisdiction and they granted a judgment, you have to obey it or you go to the next higher court. Now, with respect to what you just told me now, Sam Emel Anyanwu of the People Democratic Party lost his case against Ude in the federal court. He lost his case against Ude in the Court of Appeal. He appealed to Supreme Court. He lost. His appeal was dismissed. Who is the national chairman of PDP today? National secretary. Because the party said he remained the national secretary in line with the decision of the court that we cannot adjudicate who is going to be leader of a party. Now they went to court to go and challenge Abure leadership, not the NWC. Because you cannot change this judgment except court wants to review it. We know the law also, and Supreme Court is not empowered to invalidate our constitution. If any constitution is going to be validated, it must go through 21st Assembly.
Mr. Habandi, I like the fact that you have said that the court never invalidated the NWC. That means Abure's position needs to go behind if you have to go by what the Supreme Court has said. So who in that party now is the leadership of the party that will decide who is the national chairman?
We have an NWC in line with our constitution. We have 12 organs of the party. We do not have caretaker. And like I said, Section 223 forbid any party have a caretaker. And if, according to what we are hearing, they said they have the power, they have the muscle, we will wish them well. But nobody should blame anybody in 2027. It happened between former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, versus the other senator. You knew what happened to them. They lost all their candidates. It happened between Senator Yari and Senator Marafa in Zamfara. Where I am presently, it also happened. If anybody thinks they can proceed on illegality, we wish them well.
All right.
But that party is not meant for capture. Nobody going to capture the soul of our party. It's not going to be possible.
Just a minute, Abayomi. Thanks for your contribution. Now, your colleague and your brother, because you are from the same party, Anselm Eragbe, is right here in the studio. So I would like him to respond to everything you have said. Mr. Anselm, let me find out this from you. Who is in charge of Labour Party at the moment? This is why I asked that, because the Abure-led faction says that Nenadi Usman's faction, which you represent, is illegal. And you are saying that you welcome the Supreme Court judgment, which has declared Abure's leadership illegal, because as it stands, it is your party that decides who governs it. So who is in charge of the party at the moment?
Okay, thank you very much. Straight away, the leader of the party today, with effect from 4th of September 2024, is Senator Nenadi Usman as the national chairman and Senator Dalitin Uwokucha as the national secretary. Why is this so? First and foremost, the man there, Arabambi, he was not elected as a member of the National Working Committee of the Labour Party from the National Convention. The man elected in the office of the National Publicity Secretary was Innocent Lagi. That is one. Two, our tenure constitutionally elapsed finally on the 8th of June 2024. I will read from the Constitution to show the world the powers of the National Executive Council.
Go ahead.
Good. However, before I go there, it is this same Arabambi who moved an illegal motion on the 29th of March 2021 in the Benin NEC meeting that upstaged the constitution of the Labour Party, where he moved an illegal motion for Abure, who was elected as national secretary. The constitution of the Labour Party does not make a provision for the national secretary of the party to ascend to the position of acting or national chairman. So the constitution says, in the absence of the national chairman, the deputy national chairman or chairman will preside over the party or take charge. So there is no provision in this constitution that shows that a national secretary can become a national chairman. So this is point. I want the world to see the illegality. So I'm putting it to Arababi there face to face that he was the one that set up the party for destruction on the 29th of March 2021. And this was how Abure illegally became national chairman. That said, now in this constitution of the Labour Party, I will read for you the functions of the NEC and the functions of the NWC. There are just 5 functions for the National Working Committee. I will run through them just briefly, then select. The first one says the National Working Committee, their function shall be 1, just a minute, please, because the National Working Committee, now shall in between the NEC administer the party and take decisions such that the opinion are in the best interest of the party. 2, shall be fully accountable to the NEC.
All right.
3, shall prepare draft policies document for consideration of the NEC. 4, shall prepare the annual budget and submit same to the NEC for approval. 5, which is the last one, shall take such measures that are necessary and expedient for protecting the unity and viability of the party at all levels. Now, the NEC, the NWC is subservient to the National Executive Council, right? Right?
All right.
Quickly, there are 18 functions of the National Executive Council of the party. Quickly, I'll take 10 out of the 18.
Go ahead.
That matters. Quickly, the first one says, 2, the functions here, powers and functions of National Executive Council. 1 say, to be responsible for the overall administration and organization of the party and putting into effect the decisions of the National Convention. That's 1. 2, to prepare the agenda, organize the National Convention as and when due, and implement the decisions and its directives. This is NEC. 3, to prepare and submit report and recommendations for the consideration of the National Convention, which is the highest organ, because there's no... Now, quickly, I run down to 5, to make rules for the party discipline and loyalty, which shall be binding on all organs of the party. I will talk on this when it comes to suspension, disciplinary action, which the NWC has no power, just like Abure again illegally did in my case. And even the man there was illegally suspended by Abure until he was reinstated. I will come to that issue of restatement.
All right.
Because of the restraining order, the criminal issues, perjury, forgery, and criminal conspiracy, for which the FCT High Court restrained Julius Abure, Umar Farouk Ibrahim, Ojukwu Clement from parading themselves as officials of the party. It was that restraining order that brought in Apapa on the 5th of April 2023. Are you there?
In the 2023,
In the
that's
2023,
right.
yes.
I remember.
And the NWC meeting of on the 5th reinstated me from an illegal suspension and reinstated Arabambi there from his own illegal suspension and made Apapa the acting national chairman of the Labour Party. So the next meeting which Abure ran to on the 17th of April 2020 was illegal because it was on a subsisting FCT High Court restraining order. Are you with me?
That's right.
This time Arabambi was with us in that struggle. At what point did Arabambi now find Abure to be a saint? It's a question we're asking on this. So quickly.
Don't worry, he's going to respond to that. He's hearing you.
Quickly, let me read a few more functions so that you will see some few things. Now, the NEC shall have powers to decide on and convene special national convention and congresses. Now, this function does not give NEC the ability to subvert the provisions of the Constitution. Just like the motion that Arabambi moved, illegal motion he moved in the mini NEC meeting that brought Abure, that prompted Abure as a national secretary to the office of the national chairman instead of the deputy national chairman. Are you with me? So there is no provision. So, because people will tell you, when NEC take, there is no provision that says NEC should take illegal decisions based on this Constitution. So, but that's the foundation of the crisis in Labour Party as orchestrated by Arabambi and Abure. I will tell you more on that quickly. Now, the function of the NEC says here, to take decision and to hold regular national convention of the party in the event that the national convention could not hold for any reason whatsoever as at when due. Now, to co-opt such person or persons as it deemed necessary, desirable, or expedient to attend its meetings and to take part in the deliberations provided that such co-opted persons shall not have voting right. Now, you know, they call the NEC meeting. Are you with me?
Go on.
These people call the NEC, this is now the NEC, the function here says the NEC can co-opt. Are you with me? I will read this function. Can co-opt such person or persons as it deemed necessary, desirable, or expedient to attend its meeting. It's a constitutional provision. And take part in its deliberation, provided that such co-opted person or persons shall not have voting right. Now, this was what happened. When NEC called the meeting, remember the reason NEC had to call the meeting in Abure was because our tenure lapsed on the 8th of June 2024. Are you there, sir?
Yes.
Sorry,
And as members of NEC, all NWC members...
Okay, just a minute. Ijema, go ahead, please.
I do not ask a question here because
I can't hear.
that you've been calling NEC. Can you please tell us who are the members of this NEC? Because if you're still calling that NEC, Abure should be a member of that NEC. As at the time you said NEC had a meeting. Who are the members of NEC?
Now, the members of the NEC, these are the composition of members of the NEC. 1, all members of the National Working Committee were 20, 2 passed, remaining 18. 2, a sitting governor or sitting governors and their deputies. In this instance, Alex Otti and the deputy governor. 3, the president and general secretaries of labor centers. In this case, NSC president, TUC president, NSC secretary general, the TUC secretary general, the chairperson and chairperson of Women Commission of the Labor Centers of the, if are members of the party. Now, which means the NSC political chairperson and the TUC political chairperson. Are you there? If you now go to the board of trustees, the BOT chairman and the BOT secretary. So now these are the members of NEC. In our case, because our tenure lapsed, the 18 of us ceased from being members of NEC. Are you with me?
Go on.
Sorry, please. I want to make something.
Ideally, remaining 10 NEC members.
Sorry.
Hello. Remaining 10 members. Who are the 10 members? NSC president. NSC secretary general.
Okay. Ijoma wants to.
So these 10 people are now the subsisting NEC
she would like to complete her question.
Okay.
Yes, please. If you have mentioned members of NEC and you talked about members of the National Working Committee, because before a NEC meeting will hold, the chairman of that NEC will be the national chairman. As at that time, Abure had a valid appeal court judgment as at the time. So why is it that Abure was not at that meeting? Was it who called for the NEC meeting if Abure, being the chairman, did not call for that?
Okay, now I will read from us quickly an abridged version of the INEC affidavit on oath. Remember, our tenure, there were no crisis until the tenure expired on the 8th of June. Are you there?
Yeah.
2024. And the INEC, remember, there were already matters in court based on the Ondo election that prompted all this crisis. Now, on the 23rd of July, INEC swore an affidavit of oath. In this INEC affidavit of oath, I will read selected item. Item E said, the tenure of the NWC expired June 8, 2024. Are you there?
Which you mentioned.
Which I mentioned. It is on INEC affidavit on oath. 2, which was, the INEC said, the fourth defendant, which is INEC in that suit. Remember, the suit of Nenadi Usman and the INEC were all against Abure in that judgment, which the Supreme Court ruled upon. Are you together? Now, so which means they are all beneficiary of that suit. Now, that suit said, the fourth defendant neither, that's INEC. INEC said they neither received any notice of state congresses for the election of delegates to the National Convention. The basis upon which INEC dissociated itself from the illegal and unlawful 27 March 2024 National Convention in Newi. This is the reason. Because if you go to the terms of settlement, the basis upon which agreement were entered into by the party and the NLC, the term said conduct Congress within 1 year, conduct congresses. So INEC is now saying in its affidavit of oath that though these people claim they conducted a national convention, but we INEC were not there for the reason that these people, we did not receive a notice for what? The conduct of congresses. Ward, states, are you there?
A national congress.
Ward, local government, state, delegates election. So INEC has said, we did not receive any notice for Congress, so there were no Congress, so there were no delegates that voted in the National Convention. So INEC asked the question, how did Abure come about his own convention? So you don't go for a National Convention without delegates. Are we there? So INEC established in his oath,
is INEC
in his
so important
affidavit on
that
oath,
if INEC
that the
does
convention
not,
claim was illegal.
Is it that?
So
is it that
now the leadership of the party.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Ijoma is asking something.
Okay. Please.
Yes. Now you're calling INEC.
Yes.
INEC said they didn't get notification. On time.
Yes. Yeah.
But I recall that this same INEC, the Labour Party, the Abure-led Labour Party, said they wrote to INEC notifying INEC of their convention and the date of the convention. And they moved. Even moving, they also notified INEC. And they went further to say INEC cannot decide who is the national chairman of the party. If INEC said they didn't monitor the Congress, how important is that to the fact that the court already gave Abure the judgment as the chairman of the party?
Okay, now you see, the Federal High Court did all the illegality that extended to the court.
No, you don't say a court judgment is illegal. It's a judgment, no matter how bad the judgment is.
INEC, I want to answer your question. INEC in his affidavit of oath acknowledged that on the 4th of December, Abure and Umar Farouk wrote to INEC saying there will be a convention on the 4th of December 2023 by the INEC affidavit of oath. Down item G, INEC said on the 18th of April, are you getting it? Of course, INEC alluded to the fact that there was a NEC meeting where they emerged, even though we say it's illegal. We'll come to that. INEC said that the claimant, which is Abure, gave them a notice on the 4th of December for that convention. G, that the fourth defendant neither, INEC is saying that they neither received any notice of state congresses for the election of delegates to the National Convention, nor monitored any state congresses that produced the delegates that would vote for the said National Convention in the first claimant.
All right, you know what?
Quickly, that the fourth defendant did not monitor the 2024 convention in the first claimant that produced the second and third claimant. So what INEC said in his affidavit of oath, that all the fact that they did not monitor congresses, delegates election. However, this second and third claimants, Farouk and Abure, however, they emerged that the fourth defendant did not monitor 2024 convention of the claimant that produced second and third defendant. So INEC has dissociated itself. Absolutely.
As far as they are concerned, it never held.
It never held.
All right. Here's what I would like to.
Court adjudicated on this matter.
Here is what I would like to find out now. Here's what I would like to find out. You were asking earlier that at what point did Abayomi begin to see Abure as an authentic, national chairman who must continue in office for a second term and all
who was
of
the
that.
legitimate chairman.
I would like you to respond to that, Abayomi, because, of course, it also needs to be unraveled. This is somebody who you didn't even support in the first place. Who got you suspended? So how did you come about, choosing him as the authentic national chairman now, who should have a second term, even though he's still in contention?
Well, thank you very much. This is the Electoral Act, as amended 2022. And Section 82, 1 said every registered political party shall give commission at least 21 days notice of any convention, congress, or meeting convened for the purpose of merger, electing member of the executive committee and other governing body, or nominating candidate for any elective offices specified under this. That's 82.1. 82.5 says failure of a political party to notify the commission as stated in subsection 1 shall render the convention, congresses, conferences, or meeting invalid. And section 1 of the Nigerian Constitution says any edict, law, or promulgation that is in conflict with the Constitution of the Federal Government of Nigeria, such shall be set aside to the level of the essence of the constitution. Now, this is consistent with the Constitution of Nigeria. The only condition where your convention can be rendered invalid is if you do not give notice as enshrined in 82 sub 5. That is Electoral Act. Now, regarding what Ijoma asked him, the function of national chairman of our party, because the Supreme Court has said that parties must obey their party constitution. Our constitution said the chairman shall give leadership to the party and preside over all meetings, ordinary convention, national executive meeting, and national working committee. Function of the national secretary is very clear. Shall cause to be issued notices of meeting of national convention, national executive council, national working committee in consultation with an approval of national chairman. That has rendered their, all this their party they want to do tomorrow illegal, because you cannot build something on nothing. If you are calling Labour Party, this constitution has not been set aside, and you can only invalidate the constitution via a national convention.
Abayomi, let me give him the answers.
Hold on. We need to wrap up quickly because we are almost out of time. Since you mentioned the meeting that is going to hold, the stakeholders meeting holding tomorrow, what are you expecting from that meeting that will be holding tomorrow?
Let me tell you, and the Nigerians should note, the point of departure that he asked was at the point we know that Abure is an agent of unity of Nigeria. There are discussions between them and Abure to make Nigeria government, because a lot of them said they refuse to admit the result of 2023 election. And Nigeria will know. That is why I'm going to respect Mr. Peter Obi over this issue.
All right.
Nigeria knew I met him. His only belief now is that we should change the president only through ballot.
All right.
But every other person in that place, they want state capture. They wanted Nigeria to burn. They have a mission to settle Nigeria.
All right,
and
Abayomi.
Abure chooses not to be part of them,
Abayomi.
and also chooses not to be part of them.
All right, thank you very much, Abayomi.
That is our point of deviation.
All right,
They
Ijoma.
want to capture Nigeria.
Ijoma, do you have a final question for Anslan before we wrap up this segment?
Anyway, I would just ask him, because since he said they already have their chairman, national chairman and national secretary, and he said it was during the last NEC meeting. Was it a NEC meeting or the special committee meeting that this old person came out from? Because I'm still asking the question, if you don't have a national chairman, who gave backing to that NEC meeting? The national chairman is the presiding officer of any meetings, whether NEC or even National Convention, which is the highest body in a political party. So who is the person that gave the backing for the meeting?
Thank you. Ijoma, let me answer that question. Now, the situation you have just read out would have been, that's under a normal situation. If everything was normal before the 8th of June 2020, remember, all these things did not happen before the 8th of June.
That's right.
So the world needs to understand that there were no crises before the 8th of June. So as at the 8th of June, by a fraction of time, we had lost the privilege of being NEC member NWC because our tenure expired. So, and there were now only 9 statutory NEC members who are on the same pedestal. Are you with me? Are you with me, sir? So any of those 9 members, 2 of them, now the quorum of a meeting of the party is 1/3. So 1/3 of 9 is 3. Are you with me, sir? So ideally, any 3 of those members, just NSC president, NSC secretary general, and the NSC chairperson political commission are enough to call a meeting.
All right,
now, quickly, but before then, before then, there is a letter written to the INEC by a law firm concerning this NEC meeting that took place in Abure before it happened.
Okay.
It's in evidence for those who don't have the document. Probably in the next hour I'll bring it. Now, Barrister Okonkwo,
certainly
quickly, Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo led the legal firm to do that.
We don't have all the time.
But however, to answer the question, now NEC function. To fill the function of NEC is to fill vacancies in the NWC as they may occur from time to time.
Let's hold it there.
Yeah.
This is your law. Abide by it. What's the legal implication of what's happening now in the party?
The legal implication is that the Supreme Court judgment, by virtue of Section 235 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is a direct norm, the highest authority in Nigeria, Supreme Court is the highest court as a policy court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then by Section 287, subsection 1, it says, the Supreme Court judgment is final, and its judgment must be enforced by all persons and authority throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So when the Supreme Court has pronounced on a judgment, pronounced on a findings of a fact and interpreted the provisions of the law before them, that binds all issues. That binds all parties. That binds even parties who are not before the Supreme Court. That binds the inferior court, the Court of Appeal, the higher court, Federal High Court, all the court lower to the Supreme Court. In this case, remember, there was a dispute with respect to Ondo governorship election, primary election, as the case may be, which led to the submission of lists to INEC, as the case may be, which led to the matter that was filed at the Federal High Court. Judgment was pronounced, and which moved to the, I think, FHE suit 1271. That is Labour Party versus INEC. This suit was instituted by Barrister Abure, and which moved to the Court of Appeal. When you appeal to the Court of Appeal Court in the course of made the findings that the substance of the appeal is founded on internal affairs of a political party, which is non-justiciable as a matter of principles of law, founded on judicial precedent over the years by the Supreme Court. And she went ahead because Abure exhibited in the course of the record that was transmitted an earlier judgment of the Court of Appeal recognizing him, let me say judgment of the court, recognizing him as the national chairman of the party. Now, this judgment was contested at the Supreme Court, which judgment was delivered by the Supreme Court last on the 4th of April. That was last Friday. And the Supreme Court, in the course of delivering the judgment, said that, setting aside the judgment of the lower court, Federal Court of Appeal, and also that the Court of Appeal had no jurisdiction to have even pronounced and declared Abure as the substantive chairman. Now, what brought that appeal was that appeal court declared him the substantive chairman in view of their earlier judgment previously. Now, what has happened is this, a legal implication, that the judgment of the Court of Appeal has been set aside by the Supreme Court. It does not exist, recognizing Abure as the national chairman of the party. Then the earlier judgment, which by himself, he shot by himself on the leg, because he brought judgment that he had to before, the Court of Appeal had already recognized him as the substantive chairman, which is Appeal Court reference in this latest judgment that went on appeal. Now, oh, you have recognized me before. Now, this judgment went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court made a finding that, oh, the lower court has no jurisdiction to look into the matter, and because it borders on internal affairs of the party.
Now, he is insisting that he has done only one term, because the first term he did was in acting capacity, and that he must still go ahead for a second term, which is among what is in contention.
You see, when the Supreme Court has pronounced on a matter, substantive matter, it will always advise parties that it does not speak well of our democracy, our rule of law, and constitutionalism. It will amount to judicial insubordination for a party before a court to begin to exhibit character that will suggest an act of insubordination, an act of attack to judicial pronouncement, to the hallowed majesty of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. When the Supreme Court have declared a judgment on a matter, that seals it. It is rock of Jubilee. Appeal can only lie to God. Oputa said that where the Supreme Court stood on a ground, the lower court cannot stand on a different ground, even if there's an earthquake. Okay. Supreme Court is final, not because they're infallible because they are final.
Ijoma was asking you a question.
Yes, as it is now, the Supreme Court is the final vote. But what about the situation in the party now? Because if the Supreme Court says the party should go ahead and decide who is their leader, and Abure, being the national chairman, has been sacked by court. Let me use that word of quote, because they are still saying the court never sacked Abure. And if that is the case, who then will decide, will take decision, keeping with the court judgment, the apex court position? Who is in position to not decide? Does it not mean that there is a big quagmire in the Labour Party?
There is no quagmire as far as I'm concerned. You have to look into the historical pedigree or events that have happened before that brought that dispute before the Supreme Court. You recall that on the 6th of September 2024, thereabout, there was a resolution that was handed down at Umuahia, because there was a resolution conveyed by the expanded stakeholders committee held at the government house Umuahia, by all Labour Party stakeholders. And there was a resolution, and that resolution happens to be the constitution of, composition and constitution of a national caretaker committee, which is founded under the Labour Party, Article 13, 2, 12, and 16. I'm coming. What will happen tomorrow is that Abure's office haven't been ousted by the Supreme Court, as the case may be, and the NEC coming up to hold tomorrow in view of Article 13 of the party, and the fellow that have appeared here, I agree with him. The NEC is the highest authority, second to National Convention, to decide even to fill vacant positions.
But Mr. Vincent, we know what we're going to do. After tomorrow's NEC meeting, we're actually out of time, all right, so that we can make room for the news. Okay.
What is the legality of the committee that they took that decision?
That's what we're going to have to discuss.
Who will recognize them? Who are they?
Certainly, we'll have to discuss that after tomorrow's meeting.
What is she asking me? What is IJ asking me?
I thought you heard what she said. Okay, maybe the network is not so...
What? The committee members?
Ijoma, he didn't quite hear you.
I didn't get you.
Since he said there will be time for us to discuss this tomorrow.
Definitely, because we're out of time for today, all right?
What is the legal position of the caretaker committee or the committee meeting that held? Which constitution gave them that power?
The constitution of...
I'll suggest we just leave it at that.
Article... No. Let me come. No,